Earlier this week, I made a video about 7 of the most two-footed footballers on earth. I said I'd follow it up with the opposite video if the demand was present, and it appears as though it is. So today's video is all about footballers with one leg that's not much use other than for standing on. Once again, the focus is on very good players with great disparity between their dominant and weak feet, so your mate Trev from Sunday Afternoons with gout on his left leg won't feature. Whilst being one-footed is generally considered a negative attribute since it can limit a player's options, particularly in attacking areas, being in this 7 is not a damning indictment of a player. Diego Maradona is among the greatest footballers of all time despite being very one-footed, and more recently, Arjen Robben was among the finest players of his generation despite being a right winger who never used his right foot. For the record, I won't be including goalkeepers just because I don't think that'd be very interesting, and there will be some honourable mentions later on. Here are 7 of the most one-footed footballers. Jesus Navas. Spanish international Jesus Navas kickstarts this 7 in 7th place, and I must admit that he would be even higher had I made this video during his time with Manchester City. As a winger, Navas was pretty one-dimensional, typically looking to beat his fullback with pace and then send a dangerous delivery into the box. He might not have been the most unpredictable, but Navas still managed to win a World Cup and the European Championships. Since returning to Sevilla, Navas has been arguably even more impressive operating as a fullback, but he's still extremely one-footed. Giorgio Chiellini. As I said in the introduction, being a one-footed player does not mean you're not a brilliant player, and Giorgio Chiellini is among the finest centre-backs of the last 10 to 20 years. Capped over 100 times by Italy, the Juve legend and club captain is a rock-solid centre-back who previously deputised at left-back. A real warrior at the back, Chiellini is strong, aggressive, and fairly mobile. He's never been the most technically gifted footballer with either foot, but the 35-year-old veteran does have a very obvious weak foot. Chiellini almost never uses his right foot, if he can help it, but it would be fair to say that it has never held him back. Antonio Valencia. I almost left Antonio Valencia out of this 7 now that he's no longer competing in one of the world's leading divisions, but he's still a very capable footballer, aged 34, and still a full international. A little bit like Navas in some respects, Valencia made his name as a right winger with bags of pace who loved to get to the byline and zip the ball across the front of goal, before moving to fullback later on in his career. Both served Valencia well, and he spent almost 9 years at Manchester United, twice winning their Players' Player of the Year award. Born in the Amazon rainforest, Valencia now plays for LDU Quito, and a career total of just 3 left-footed goals tells you all you need to know about how one-footed the Ecuadorian is. Andy Robertson. In terms of outfield players, I don't think there's a more one-footed position than fullback, and one of the outstanding fullbacks in world football over the last couple of seasons takes 4th place in this 7. Andy Robertson's curling left-footed deliveries in behind a defence have become a frequent feature of Liverpool's play under Jurgen Klopp, and his assist numbers are absolutely sensational. I'm not sure if anyone has a breakdown of how many of Robertson's assists have been with his right foot over the years, but I would expect it to be close to 0. Even more so than most left-footed left-backs, Robertson's right foot is for little more than standing on, and he's yet to score a right-footed goal for club or country, aged 25. Angel Di Maria. I think there's a tendency for people to criticise left-footed players for being one-footed much more than right-footed players, which is perhaps unfair, so I was conscious of falling into that trap with this 7. Nevertheless, the upper rankings of this 7 are pretty dominated by left-footers. In 3rd place we have Angel Di Maria, who one could argue is among the most underappreciated talents of his generation. Even at Manchester United, Di Maria was nowhere near as bad as many people made out, and he has been nothing short of sensational for PSG. The 32-year-old wide man has been fairly prolific in the French capital, but as always with Di Maria, only with one foot. The Argentine, who is equally comfortable on either flank, has scored 87 goals during his career with his left foot, compared to just 4 with his right. For context, Di Maria has scored as many goals with his head as he has with his right foot, and he's hardly dominant in the air. Jose Gaia. We're back to left-footed left-backs in 2nd place, and there are plenty of similarities between Andy Robertson and Jose Gaia. It's a tight call between the two, but Gaia is arguably even more one-footed than the Scotland captain, and he too has never scored a right-footed goal. A quick and industrious fullback capable of putting a great ball into the box, Gaia has spent his entire club career with Valencia. The 24-year-old, who has been capped 7 times by Spain, has made more than 200 appearances for his boyhood club. He's achieved all that thanks primarily to a very good left foot, meanwhile his right foot is about as good as mine. In his defence, I am right-footed. Honourable mentions. Obviously, lots of players have one foot which is far superior to the other, so I can't mention everyone here, so I'll just mention those who made my shortlist but didn't quite make the final 7. They include the likes of Willian, Jordan Henderson, Joel Matip, Joe Gomez, Alvaro Odriozola, Mesut Ozil, Paulo Dybala, Oscar Cardozo, Nabil Fekir, Carlos Vela, Alberto Moreno, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Kurt Zouma. Obviously, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and I will leave a link in the description to the 7 most two-footed players video, or alternatively, you'll see the thumbnail to watch that video on this video's end screen. Before that though, here is your top spot. Dede. Whilst the likes of Jesus Navas and Antonio Valencia are very obviously one-footed, since they've spent all their careers on the right flank, with everyone knowing they can only do real damage going down the outside rather than cutting inside, you have to actually pay quite close attention to watching Dede to realise how hopeless his weak foot really is. For a centre-back, being blessed with 2 feet of equal proficiency isn't essential, and Dede has won 11 caps for Brazil, displaying a left foot with all the accuracy of Diana Ross from the penalty spot at the opening ceremony of the 1994 World Cup. Dede is a tall and capable centre-back who is a decent passer of the ball with his right foot, but he is more accurate with his forehead than he is with his weak foot, and he's my choice as the most one-footed footballer in the world. That's all for today's video. The link to that video looking at the 7 most two-footed footballers ought to be on the right of your screen now, along with another video YouTube thinks you might like on the left. Thanks for watching, feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it or are just feeling kind, and subscribe to HITC Sevens if you wish to see more of me in the future.